Hey guys, welcome back to another Vanguard video. Today we're going to be talking about the brand new expected promos for December and January, and we have the full list right here. Now, of course, these are going to be new cards, and going from left to right, we have Tamayura. We actually have the Dark States Wretch as a promo instead of a main set, which is really weird. Then we have the Veissrugr brand new Mythisch. We have Undercover support, Magnolia, and last but not least, Michu support. And for the reprints, you can see at the top, we have the Nightrose and Harri promos. These are pretty big to get as reprints, since they are going to be quite expensive, as you definitely want several of them, if not four, for the decks, which are getting support in DZBT 15. And of course, the last thing to talk about is Gilaane, which is basically the Deeplands card, which is common, which you can now get as a foil in this promo pack. So let's start with Howling Mythics Megiddogr here, which I think is one of the best cards from this promo pack. It's Veissrugr support and pretty much replaces the Crow, doing a whole lot for the deck. We have the first skill, which is the auto when placed on Rearguard Circle or Guardian Circle from deck or hand. If you have a Moongate in your order zone, you choose up to one card with Mythics and discard it from your drop and perform one of the following. You can put that card directly into the order zone, which is amazing for the Moongate and of course for Veissrugr's on attack. So you basically get your Snake or whatever other Mythics you want set up, the third Mythics to plus, or even of course the first Mythics to get some more draw power. Or if this unit was placed on Rearguard Circle other than during the battle phase, you can cost Counterblast 1 and call that card to Rearguard Circle. So you can't really cheat out Anger Bolt, but still amazing to get any of the Mythics that you need back onto your board. Then you have the last skill, which is Continuous Rearguard Circle, Guardian Circle. If your order zone has a Moongate, this unit can intercept the back row and also get shield +5, so always a 10k shield, and can't intercept from the back row, but doesn't gain boost until you are a grade 3 gritter Vanguard with Veissrugr, then it does gain a boost. So overall, just a really good card for the deck. I don't think it's really changing the ceiling or really where Veissrugr is in the meta right now, but it's such a great quality of life card that really solves like the main problems I think with the deck before, which is that your drop zone was really awkward. For example, if you did lose a lot of snakes, for example, you damaged a few, you need to get them back into deck for the back row attack, it was really hard to get them back into the order zone. You pretty much had to use Anger Bolt or use your Guardian Circle skill for Veissrugr to get them back into deck, shuffle your deck, have that stack be shuffled, and then still hit it off the top 7 from the Moongate. So this makes your life so much easier. You can straight up get it back onto your board or get into the order zone to set it up for Veissrugr's on attack. And I think this does still give Anger Bolt a lot of value. I think a lot of lists are still on one Anger Bolt, but I have seen a lot of people playing up to like 2 or 3, which I think is really just preference for the deck, and also makes it a little bit more versatile since you can kind of exchange things between areas, which I think makes Veissrugr a little bit more flexible than it did before. It doesn't really change the core gameplay a lot, but kind of makes it so you have a lot to do in a turn and have more areas you can kind of move your Mythics around. So overall, just a very solid card, pretty much a major upgraded Crow for the deck, and takes up that slot in the deck. You could technically play some of the Crow and like maybe one of the Crow and 4 of this, but this card you're definitely playing 4 of. It is just amazing, gets you more free bodies back onto your board, gets your Mythics sorted, and of course is even just more additional shield for the deck. The fact that when you combine this with Veissrugr's skill being a 15k shield is such a big deal, and also makes it a premium Buster Barrage target as well, which is so good. So definitely a big upgrade for Veissrugr and one of the best promos out of this pack. So the next card to talk about is actually Tamayura support. So we actually have Stealth Fiend Kawagoboshi, and this is a very interesting cards. We have some new cons basically in deck. If you have a Vanguard with Tamayura in its card name, this card is also regarded as Rimuri and Ramuri's friend, meaning it counts as Rimuri or Ramuri for relevant effects that would grab it, such as Broken Toys, a lot of the Fox arts, which I'll put up on screen while I'm talking about it. But the really big thing is this auto, and this card is absolutely crazy. We have the auto when discarded from hand during your turn. If you have a Vanguard with Tamayura in its card name and your entire ride line is Tamayura, so this is active on turn 1 as well, you can also put this card into soul, so just free soul. You search your deck for up to 1 Fox art card or up to 1 card with Rimuri or Rami's current original card name, reveal it, add it to your hand, and shuffle your deck. So you get +1 soul, +1 deck thin, and you set up your Fox art, which we do have the brand new grade 1. I say new as it's the latest Fox art, but it really came out in DZBT 6, so a long time ago in Genesis. But yeah, just an amazing ability. Being able to grab any of your Fox arts, since you have 1 for each grade, is incredible. You have really strong Fox arts to get both Ramuri and Rimuri out of your soul onto your board, and this also means you can guarantee search them on top of Broken Toys to get them into your soul or hand, which is so good. And the last auto is just icing on top of the cake. You have at the end of battle, this unit boosted a Vanguard with Tamayura in its card name. If you played a Fox art order this turn, which you easily set up through Tamayura's Persona Ride or through this card, you put this unit into your souls, choose up to 1 unit card with Tamayura in its card name for your drop, and add it into your hand, so you guarantee another Persona Ride. So whenever you heal out a Tamayura or don't have to worry too much about pitching it for ride up in the early game. You can easily just get that back into your hand and have another guaranteed Persona ride in case something happens. At worst, it's just another PG fodder or discard for something else. So honestly, just a cracked card for Tamayura. It doesn't really raise the ceiling of the deck, but it's a big consistency piece that I think just helps the deck a lot. So honestly, just an amazing card, especially because your resources, I think, are just a little bit tight. I guess in terms of energy, you're a little bit more flexible, but with the new DZBT6 Fox art, I think your energy is probably going to that, and you have a lot of deck filter already between Broken Toys and a lot of other cards, and this is just even more selective deck thinning and even more still for the deck. So really like the design that they're kind of giving to Glitters. It's really weird that it's a promo because it feels like, you know, we had the patterns originally where Glitters were getting some main deck supports, and now they feel like they're being sidelined to promos. And also we don't know when we're getting the really big glitter promos, the grade 3 ones that were in the Craycross Epic physical book that JP got. So I'm hoping we'll get news on when we'll get that in English, especially going into 2027 Vanguard, or at least for the end of the year, because those are really good support for a lot of the really good glitter decks, mainly like Chaos, Ava, and all the other ones. Of course, Michu as well also got support in here. Yeah, really big Tamayura support that I think will make a lot of people come back to the deck, which I think is a deck that is very much underrated and really had the kind of like slow trickled support. Like, yes, DE generics are good in this deck, but really we didn't have really a lot of great stealth generics, especially with like Shojidoji getting sidelined. Now, I think a lot of people will go to Shojidoji again once Izuso does get freed, since that did happen recently in JP and will likely come to English. But yeah, just such a big consistency card. More pitch fodder, more soul, more selective searching for both your Fox arts and both your dolls, because you need those to countercharge and also get even bigger power, making your columns hit magic numbers essentially on your Persona Ride turn. And with Tamayura giving that extra red text of 5k to your front row at the beginning of ride phase, you essentially have a 15k Persona Ride on your turn. So really cool stuff for Tamayura, and I hope that this will get people to either pick up the deck or kind of revisit it again. So definitely just an amazing promo for the deck. The next promo to talk about is for Magnolia. We have Sylvan Horn Beast, Numarnu, and this guy is a chud, but he's a really strong chud. He's a crazy card. So you have the auto when discarded from hand during your ride phase if you have a Vanguard with Sylvan Horn Beast, so this works early, of course. You look at the top 7 cards of your deck, you choose up to 1 card with Magnolia in its card name, or up to 1 order card without Wrigless Beast from among them, reveal it, add it to your hand, and shuffle your deck. Amazing effect. You know what's an order card without Wrigless Beast? Elementaria Sanctitude. Just yoink that off the top 7. You, of course, have all your Magnolia, so this is incredible in Patriarch. You can even play this in something like with Elder if you wanted to make something like in Largov, 15k shields, which is really strong if you didn't want to play Forbiddle. And of course, in Masque, this is also great as well. You can grab Magnolia Masque, you can grab Masque of Hydrogrim, and if you aren't playing that and you're instead playing some other order package, you could of course be grabbing Habitable Zone, any kind of normal order, or even Blitz order off this card. The fact that it doesn't even specify normal order is just so strong. So yeah, that first skill is already amazing. Then you have the Cracked Kant, which is Rearguard Circle, Guardian Circle skill if you have a Vanguard with Sylvan Horn Beast in its card name. So more importantly, this works earlier before you have to ride Magnolia. This unit gets shield plus 10, so it's always a 15k shield, which is crazy. Essentially 4 more triggers in your deck, and your Persona Ride also increases the power of your back row units, so essentially replacing the Grade 2 cat that we recently got. And this card is just straight up better in every way. It's pitch fodder, you know, you can res this, it's still a beater, and it's always a 15k shield. It's just so good. And then the last skill is pretty much when it attacks, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Magnolia, it gets plus 5k power until end of battle. So definitely a card, no matter what Magnolia deck you're playing, unless it's obviously Phantom, because this doesn't work in that deck since it's Stochiea, you're going to be picking up for this card. It is just that cracked, that incredible. Really just blew my mind when I read it. I'm like, really, Magnolia is getting another promo for the X time? And I think someone who's tweeting about it was like, wow, Flagberg still hasn't gotten their promo or anything like that. I know Flagberg has gotten main deck support, but it's just crazy. Magnolia keeps getting promo after promo, especially when it got already the really cracked card that checks top and filters, very similar to the Mag F Dry Your Ash card to basically get selective cards out of your deck. So Magnolia actually looks pretty good with this. I don't think it's really changing the ceiling of the deck or really fixing its problems, but the fact that this makes the deck so strong is just something that people will revisit it, and definitely will probably bring it to some events with how cracked this promo is. Like, it's a 15k shield. It does what you need for giving increased power for Persona Ride to your back row, so it's really good in all the mag decks, of course Patriarch and mainly Masque as well if you do love that art type. And of course it's also just a free +5, so it's always gonna be hitting a 25, very easy like magic number to poke 15k shield out of the hand. And that ride phase pitch is just so good. Top 7, basically no cost on this card at all, which is crazy. Like, we don't have a soul, like we're just making promos with no cost on it at this point. Like, we have no soul cost here, no CB cost, no energy cost. Like, this card is just, oh my, it's just welcome to 2026 Vanguard. We don't have costs on anything. But yeah, this card is really good, really happy for Magnolia players. Again, I'm just like surprised Magnolia of all things is getting yet another promo, but just an absolutely cracked card that you are definitely going to be playing as a 4F in those decks. The next card to talk about is actually more glitter support, which is for Michu. We have Light My Fire Antuz, and this card does a lot. We have the continuous in deck, very similar to the Tamayura promo. If you have Vanguard with Michu in its card name, this card is also regarded as Michu and Nocno supporter, and this is relevant for some Radline and some other grab effects from top deck. Then you have the auto when placed on Rearguard Circle. If you have a Vanguard with Michu in its card name, you cost Energy Blast 3, so of course working early on turn 2, you perform one of the following. If your Vanguard is grade 3 glitter, this card gets +5 until end of turn, so a little bit extra power, which is very nice. On top of this skill, you get to search your deck or drop for up to 1 cannonball card, reveal it, add to your hand. You search your deck, shuffle it, so just more utility to assemble more cannonballs for even bigger power onto your board. Or you choose a card with Michu in its card name from your soul and add it to your hand. So if you don't have Reprints set up, or let's say you were out of Michu's in the main deck and didn't have a way to bottom deck it, then you can guarantee that Persona Ride for the following turn, which I think is a pretty big deal for Michu. Things were a little bit awkward before, and you kind of had to really focus on like the cycling of your main deck Michu's, and this kind of helps alleviate that and makes things more simplified, so you don't really have to worry about Reprints into the main deck Michu. Just grab it from soul and they have your Persona Ride, or your filtering deck for even more cannonballs, which is very nice, and basically making it a pretty decent attacker once you add Persona Ride and a lot of the cannonballs plus 10k power. Then you have the continuous guardian circle skill. If you have an all setup in your order zone, which you pretty much guarantee on turn 1 off your ride line, it gets shield +5. So more early game shield for the deck, which is very nice, 10k shield, and you are playing this as this really good targets for some other effects if you do grab any Michu or Noknos off the top of deck. So honestly, just a very simple card. The Cannonball technically does get you a little bit of extra soul if you do search it, but if anything, it is just a +1 for Energy Blast 3 if you're not using that Energy Blast on Reprints on those turns to go into the new Michu. And of course, getting that extra shield for the deck is very nice because Michu doesn't really have any cards that have additional shield. I think if you don't really drive check well off your Vanguard and Nokono, I think you're going to struggle a little bit, especially if you're not playing like Still Notched or whatever generics that are in Lyrical right now for a little bit extra defense. So I think it's a really good upgrade for Michu, especially when I feel like they've definitely forgot about a lot of the glitters. But yeah, it doesn't really change the ceiling of the deck, but very, very good quality of life, and I love that they are slapping a lot of additional shield onto these cards to kind of get them really up to date and kind of at least supplement a little bit of early game rush, which feels like a very big part of the format right now. The next promo to talk about is actually Undercover support, aka for Mordalion. We have Knight of Sky Undercover, Archielle. You have the auto and drop when a card is put as the Undercover gauge for a Monitor Trice, which is the signature order for Undercover, in your order zone other than during the battle phase, or when your rear card with Obsidian in its card name is placed other than during the battle phase. So again, main phase locked. You got Soul Blast 1, call this card to Rearguard Circle, so a free reoccurring attacker, burning some soul, but it pretty much refunds itself with the last auto. At the end of the battle attack, if your order zone has the Undercover order, you cost Shove It to Soul and Energy Charge 3, so even more soul and energy for the deck on top of the countercharger that you already have. And then you have the continuous Rearguard Circle Guardian Circle skill. If your order zone has a Monitor Trice, this unit gets +5k power and +5k shield if you have 3 or more of the order, especially when we have cards such as Viola that can search it and is basically the newest card we've gotten besides the countercharger for the deck. It also gets another +5, so it's really easy to get your Undercover orders, aka your Monitor Trice, all set up. Ideally you do get 4, but I think 3 is just the easy minimum. And of course you have Obsidian for the extra attack and single drive from the center back row. So Undercover looking a little bit more consistent here. I think it really is just for more even soul and of course energy charge 3, so you don't really have an issue with energy anymore. There's so much energy charge, so energy isn't really too much of a problem. You have so much soul now too. And of course you have Dara kind of as the carry to check top 5, find your pieces, especially a Persona Ride. I think this deck struggles a lot without Persona Ride, so being able to check top 5 with Dara for that is very nice. And of course add Shadow Paladin PGs to your hand so you can kind of prolong the game. So yeah, Undercover is still looking pretty good. Honestly, I think it's one of the probably really cool road decks in Keter Sanctuary right now. It's just really overshadowed by the meta that we have right now with Rezel, Aichi, and kind of the more explosive Keter decks that we have, especially when we are going to be getting a bunch of new Keter decks between, we have Phantom Leonorn, we have the brand new Delete deck from DCBT16, so Undercover is a little bit, overshadowed, but if you do really love the deck, this is definitely amazing support for it. More resources, more shield, more power is really good, and the fact that that Kant really just makes it an early game 10k shield is very nice because you are pretty much guaranteed your order on turn 2, and it's very easy to assemble the rest of them to kind of filter your deck, get more gauge, and really just execute your game plan as Mordalion. So honestly, solid support for the deck. Doesn't really change the skill ceiling of the deck. I was really hoping for something that would buff up Obfuscate or make him a little bit harder to guard, maybe give him Battle Door or something like that, but free attacker with additional shield and even more soul and energy charge is something the deck will definitely take and appreciate. Now, the last promo is really weird. We have Dragontree, Wretch, Unde, Chemdah, which is pretty much the grade 2 new version of the Wretch that we have for all the other sets, but instead we have Dark States, and instead of being in a main set like all the other ones, we have it as a promo pack. Now, this says a lot of things. This says either we're not getting a new pretty much Masque for Dark States anytime soon, or maybe they are going to be in a main set, and this is kind of their way of like dripping it early, but it's really weird that this is the only brand new Wretch that we have pretty much missing that is a promo. We're also missing Stochiea, and Lyrical never got a Masque, so we don't really count that, but it's really weird that it is in here. But in case you don't know what it does, you have the auto when placed on Rearguard circle, you cost energy plus 3, you grab a Massive Hydreigon into your hand, reveal it, and then shuffle the deck. You also have the act on Rearguard circle, cost Counterblast, bind this unit, choose when you Rearguard circles without a Dragontree marker, you get a Dragontree marker, and then you get to check top 7 to grab a card with Masque or Fiphrogilia in its card name, reveal it, add it to your hand, shuffle the deck. But if you would look at deck by this ability, if your bind zone has one or less cards of the same name, you get to look in your entire deck instead of the top 7. So this supports a lot of the Masque decks. I was going through them that actually do exist. I was surprised how many Dark States had from what I remembered. I think Omnigruzio already has a very easy time getting Massive Hydreigons, but this is also very nice. It means you can burn CB and get some markers early, but of course you do want a CB for Omnigruzio for that restand. You also have Greed on Masque, which I think is the bigger winner here because it's really nice to get one. Visual Masque is a little bit weird because it's not really kept up to date, and really the remove effect from the Nationless Wretch doesn't really do much for that deck, so honestly you're probably playing Magnus or Ignis instead. So this is really weird to get as a promo in this pack, but you can technically get it as a foil. It's just weird that it's not in a main set. So I think this says something about Masque. I hope this means they're not going to be completely forgetting about the archetype, because Stochiea, and I believe that's the only one left. I think we have Dragon Empire, we have Brandgate, we have Keter. Yeah, that's pretty much the only one left besides Lyrical, but we never really got a Lyrical Masque. Unless they decide to do that, they could throw that into Legendary Idols, but I doubt they will. Kind of feels like they were most definitely sidelining Masque right now, or you're going to support like other going second decks, such as like Stride deck sets, maybe collabs or something that requires your opponent to be grade 3 and have a gimmick where you can Persona Rite going second, which is literally the Masque thing. But at least I feel like with Phantom decks that the kind of support and playstyle has been received a lot better, and I think they've done a much better job with Phantoms than they did with Masque. But yeah, really, really weird. I think this kind of just spells the doom of like Masque decks for now, or at least in terms of support, that they're going to basically drip market these into monthly shop promos and not put them into main set to, I guess, save deck space. Not like it was really taking up a lot, but yeah, I was really hoping for more going second deck gimmicks, especially, when we have a lot of going first decks in the meta right now. And yeah, I think Stochiea is the big one. I think if Stochiea did get this version in a promo pack, that would be really big support for those decks, mainly for Zorga Masque as well as for Leonor. And I think Lunar Masque would be the big one, especially when Rosarium Fairy is still very, very much a scary thing. But yeah, really, really weird to get this. Do let me know if I'm missing any other Masque decks, or if you are going to be cooking with this, because it's honestly still decent support, but I don't think Dark States Grifo really needs this. If you did want to play that build, I think the other nations for Grifo with the Wretches are a lot stronger, and there aren't really any outstanding, Dark States Max decks that really come to mind besides Greedon, and Omnigruzio I think already has a very easy time finding its grade 3. So yeah, really weird thing to have in this promo pack. So let's go over the reprints. In case you don't know, Harri and Nightrose are both getting support in the brand new DCBT 15 Illusionary of Shadows, which is coming out at the end of this month, aka end of August. And so these cards are really good in the deck. In fact, you're definitely playing them at 3 to 4 copies. I think Harri plays 4, but you can definitely play 3, and I think Nightrose is usually around 2 to 3, depends on what list you are looking at. But yeah, these cards are amazing for the deck. Megatrick is just insane for Harri. You basically get to activate Filia, which is the big thing for this deck, because a lot of decks are building board early, so you won't get Filia proc since you don't really want to play any other grade 2 bricks, especially when you have to play a lot of 0 shields anyways, a lot of grade 3s. But yeah, you get to call something out of soul, give it plus 5k, so you make Filia an 18k booster or something else massive, which is a big thing. And you can also use your Stride skill for free, because when you dish it from hand for paying costs for Stride, you get to reduce the skill of either your Hearts or your Vanguard by CB1. Both Megatrick as well as Lunatic Dragon don't use any CB, so you're pretty much always discounting Harri's cost. And the brand new Harri grade 3 also can't be going into from this card. You have to dish Harri specifically to Stride it. But yeah, also you have the check top 7 to filter that does come up if your soul is really terrible and you're in a pinch. You also give Vanguard plus 5, and this is really nice on turn 3. You can make 18, and you have dual nations on side 28. Some very disgusting going first numbers. For the Nightrose PR, this is pretty much just here to check top 7 filter, but of course you can also use it to call a card from drop and get +5. It's just very, very easy to build a board from Nightrose, so usually you're using it to get the filter, especially since we still have the broken package of Cristianos with Severin. Being able to put cards back into your deck, that combo is just so strong. So you just find 2 of those pieces and you're pretty much never decking out. Then you, of course, you also have the skill when Scar from hand for paying for a stride. You get to choose one of your Vanguards or Hearts and reduce that CB cost. Obadiah is free, and I don't think you're really using this for Dragoon, although technically I guess you could, but really for most of the time this is for Nightrose's Heart ability, so you're getting a free call +2, and you can use the brand new Shades ability without using any CB and instead just EB for that, which is very strong. It's also great for turn 3 as well, since with the brand new Shade, your turn 3 is a lot better as Nightrose. There isn't really too much to say about Deeplands Gilaane, but this card is very strong because when it's retired by any player's card ability, you get to CB draw 1, so if Blaster Blade does retire it, it's very nice to CB draw 1 during your opponent's turn, which is some cool opponent's interaction. It's also able to on place from hand to check top 3 and mill something, discard it and shuffle the deck. I do think Gilaane is something that might fade out a little bit, especially since we have the Persona Shields right now. I feel like that plus like 1 or 2 Yolanda is just a lot stronger in Deeplands right now if you want to take the deck a lot more competitive, but Gilaane is still a very strong card and can combo very well, so I'm not going to be surprised if you want to pick up a foil copy of this at 1 to 2 copies. It was originally a common, so very easy to get, but that is pretty much the only reason it is in here, to become a foil within this promo pack. So that pretty much does it for what is expected to be the December to January promo pack. Honestly, this one is pretty cracked. I would rate it at probably like 8 or 9 out of 10. I think the reprints are amazing. Getting the Harri Nightrose PRs as reprints is incredible. And honestly, all the PRs in this pack are really good. The only one that's kind of is like the Dark States Wretch. And like, honestly, the rest of them are like amazing. Like they would be like AS tier if we're ranking like how good promos usually are. Because usually they're pretty disappointing and don't really change how much like the decks really do. But honestly, all of these cards here are very good consistency buffs. They're good resources for the deck, and they don't really change the ceiling for a lot of them. But if you do pull a foil of the Wretch, that is probably going to be worth a considerable amount of money. So really, there's no bad pulls out of this PR pack. Really, only like Gilaane is the bad hit, and both the PR reprints are insane. So definitely a very good PR pack. Definitely attend shop tournaments and get some promo packs if you do really love these cards, play these decks, or just want to get some good pickups from going to locals. Yeah, that pretty much does it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Shout out to all the YouTube members like Nika for supporting the channel. I really appreciate it. As you can tell, I've been really busy. I was traveling. I was actually at Vancouver BSF, and so maybe I'll be making a video on that, but I've been like just so tired, and one of the friends got sick, and I'm hoping that I'm also not sick, but as you can tell from my throat, it's like kind of a lot deeper than normal, so I'm hoping things will be okay. And I also still have to finish the Legendary Vanguards video because I wanted to enjoy my time while traveling, and I did not really have time to edit that, so hopefully that will be this week, since I still do want to talk about all the decks. Pretty much the decks I'll be covering are the 3 icon decks, or 2 icon decks plus Nirvana, as well as the Chrono, and I think the Marlene deck as well. I think that deck is very much underrated and kind of something cool and easy you can pick up as well. So yeah, let me know what you think of this promo pack. I think this is probably one of the best ones we've had in a while, and it's a pretty cool thing to wrap up 2026 going to 2027. I have pretty high expectations for the PRs, and a lot of the times they are very much impactful, making a deck a lot stronger or getting a very big consistency buff that is very much appreciated and very much is very sought after, because these PRs are good buffs for those decks. But yeah, do let me know what you think of these PRs, if you're going to be picking any of them up. I think a lot of these are more niche decks, I would say, but I definitely want to try out Tamayura out myself. We'll definitely try to proxy playtest that, or maybe even pick up the deck. I think the Veissrugr Mythisch is just amazing, and I think the Magnolia PR is cracked as well. The Michu one is honestly amazing as well, just good consistency buff for the deck. Also being able to grab Persona Rides out of Soul in a pinch is nice in case you don't have Referica, and the Undercover one is honestly not bad as well, just a free body. And I don't know why the Wretch is in here. I wish I could ask John Bushiroad. There was also going to be the product live stream tonight as well. There's also going to be the product live stream tonight as well, so do stay tuned for that and watch that. I might do a video on that tomorrow. It's just like it's going into the weekend and it's Friday, and I still want to finish the Legendary Vanguard video. So yeah, I still kind of need to yeah, still need to catch up on other things, but thanks for listening to my rambling, and I'll see you again in another Vanguard video.